A $3 packet of seeds. That is all it costs. You tear it open, press the seeds into soil, and in 75 days you are growing one of the most powerful mosquito repellents ever documented by modern science. Iowa State University tested it. The American Chemical Society presented it at their national conference. And when researchers measured the compound inside this plant against DEET, the active ingredient in virtually every commercial repellent on Earth, the plant compound was 10 times more effective. Not 10%, 10 times. The mosquitoes did not just leave the area. 80% of them fled to the opposite end of the testing chamber within minutes. The herb is catnip, Nepeta cataria. It belongs to the mint family. It has been used for over 2,000 years. It grows in poor soil. It survives drought. It reseeds itself year after year. And a $7.5 billion global mosquito repellent industry would rather you never heard a single word of this. Because what cannot generate recurring revenue cannot be allowed to spread. Welcome to Buried Knowledge. This is where we crack open the vaults that the outdoor industry desperately locks shut. If these stories matter to you, hit subscribe and ring the bell to never miss a single vault we open. Let me take you back, way back, to the 1st century AD. The Roman Empire is at its peak, and in a city called Nepeta, in what is now central Italy, Roman citizens are cultivating a gray-green herb in their kitchen gardens. They cook with it, they brew it into teas, they dry it, and hang it in their doorways. The plant is so deeply associated with this city that the entire genus of the herb takes the city's name, Nepeta. The Roman naturalist Pliny the Elder, writing around 77 AD, documents the herb in his encyclopedic work Naturalis Historia. He describes its medicinal uses. He records that it drives away pests, and he is not guessing. He is documenting what Roman households have already known for generations. Now travel north. Skip ahead several centuries. In medieval England, a different culture on a different continent arrives at the same conclusion completely independently. The 9th century text known as Bald's Leech Book, one of the oldest surviving English medical manuscripts, prescribes this very herb for a range of ailments. Medieval herbalists grow it in their gardens, not only for medicine, but because they observe something unmistakable. Where this plant grows, biting insects vanish. They do not know the word nepetalactone. They do not understand chemical receptors, but they can observe the result clearly. Now cross an ocean. When European colonists arrive in North America in the 18th century, they carry catnip seeds with them. They planted in their new settlements from Massachusetts to Virginia. A recipe from 1712 in Massachusetts lists catnip as a brewing ingredient for ale. Colonial Americans drink it as tea. They rub it on their skin in summer. Native American tribes, including the Cherokee, independently recognize this plant's value. They use it in healing rituals and to ease restlessness. 2 continents, multiple civilizations, 0 shared research, 0 shared scientific language, and every single one of them arrives at the same finding. This plant protects you. Stay with me because what Iowa State University discovered changes everything. In 2001, entomologist Chris Peterson and Department Chair Joel Coates at Iowa State ran one of the most important insect repellent studies of the modern era. They isolated nepetalactone, the essential oil that makes up roughly 90 to 98% of catnip's chemical profile. They placed groups of 20 mosquitoes in a 2-foot glass tube. One half of the tube was treated with nepetalactone. The other half was left untreated. After 10 minutes, only 20% of the mosquitoes, about 4 out of 20, remained on the treated side at a high concentration dose. When they ran the identical test with DEET at the same concentration, 40 to 45% of mosquitoes stayed on the treated side. Peterson calculated that nepetalactone was approximately 10 times more effective than DEET because it took 1/10 the concentration to produce the same repellent effect. These findings were presented at the 222nd National Meeting of the American Chemical Society. The largest scientific society in the world gave this research a platform, but the science did not stop there. 20 years later, in 2021, researchers at Northwestern University and Lund University in Sweden published a landmark paper in the peer-reviewed journal Current Biology. They finally answered the question Peterson could not. Why does catnip repel mosquitoes so effectively? The answer was the TRPA1 receptor. This is an ancient chemical irritant receptor found in animals as diverse as flatworms, fruit flies, and humans. Catnip activates the insect version of this receptor, triggering an immediate and overwhelming aversion response. The insect perceives the compound the same way you would perceive tear gas. It is not a preference. It is a pain response. The insect flees. And here is the part that separates catnip from every synthetic chemical on the market. Unlike wasabi or garlic compounds, which also activate TRPA1 in humans and insects alike, nepetalactone selectively activates only the insect version of this receptor. It has zero effect on human TRPA1. None. That means it is aversive to mosquitoes at a biological level, but completely inert to your skin, your nervous system, and your body. The researchers confirmed this by engineering mosquitoes with mutations in their TRPA1 gene. Those mutant mosquitoes showed no aversion to catnip whatsoever. The normal mosquitoes fled. The mutant sat there unbothered. The receptor is the mechanism. Remove it and the repellency vanishes. The science is locked in. A separate study published in Nature's Scientific Reports tested catnip oil formulated into a simple lotion in field trials in eastern Uganda. At just 2% concentration, the catnip lotion significantly reduced mosquito landings compared to placebo. At 6%, it performed comparably to a commercial lotion containing 15% DEET in the field on human skin against wild mosquito populations carrying real diseases. Let me state that one more time. A 6% catnip lotion matched a 15% DEET product in a real-world field trial in one of the most mosquito-dense regions on the planet. Everything you have seen so far is barely scratching the surface of what was buried. We have compiled the complete forbidden outdoor vault. Inside, you will find guides on plant-based insect repellents that outperform commercial sprays, DIY water purification methods that cost pennies, ancient fire-starting techniques that require no purchased fuel, shelter designs used for thousands of years that modern gear companies will never show you, and natural preservation methods that keep food safe without electricity. Over 10 guides, all in one place, no fluff. The link is in the description. But stay right here with me because this video just began. Global mosquito repellent market was valued at approximately $7.5 billion in 2025. It is projected to reach over $12 billion by 2034. The dominant players are SC Johnson, the company behind Off and Raid; Reckitt Benckiser, the company behind Mortein; Spectrum Brands, the company behind Cutter and Repel; and Godrej Consumer Products, which dominates in Asia. These four corporations collectively control nearly half of the global market revenue. Their entire business model depends on one thing: you buying more. Every single season, sprays that evaporate in hours, coils that burn down to ash, lotions that wash off with sweat, plug-in vaporizers with 30-day refill cartridges, wearable patches that last 48 hours. Every single product in this industry is designed to be consumed, depleted, and repurchased. That is not a flaw. That is the architecture. Now do the math. A family of 4 in a suburban area with moderate mosquito activity will spend between $40 and $80 per summer on commercial repellents, sprays, candles, plug-ins, yard treatments. Over a decade, that is $400 to $800. A single packet of catnip seeds costs $2 to $3. The plant is a perennial. It comes back every year. It self-seeds. One planting produces a patch that can supply a household with fresh and dried repellent material indefinitely. Not for one season, for decades. $3 versus $800 for equal or superior performance over a longer period of time. You cannot patent a plant that has been cultivated since the Roman Empire. You cannot trademark nepetalactone because it is a naturally occurring chemical compound. And what you absolutely cannot control, you have to bury fast. They did not ban catnip. That would be too obvious and too legally fragile. Instead, the industry marginalized it. They poured billions into marketing DEET as the gold standard. They funded studies that measured catnip oil's duration against DEET's duration without acknowledging that catnip's concentration advantage means you need far less of it. They ensured that EPA registration processes for new repellent products favor synthetic compounds backed by corporations with deep regulatory budgets. They flooded retail shelves so completely that a consumer walking into any hardware store, pharmacy, or outdoor retailer encounters 30 DEET products and 0 catnip-based alternatives. It was not suppression by prohibition. It was suppression by saturation. I need to be honest right here, because credibility matters more than hype. Catnip is not perfect. Its primary limitation is duration. Catnip essential oil applied directly to skin begins to lose effectiveness after about 2 hours. DEET-based products at high concentrations can last 6 to 8 hours. That is a real difference, and it matters if you are deep in the backcountry for a 12-hour day. The oil is also volatile, meaning meaning it evaporates faster in heat and wind. It is not a set-it-and-forget-it solution. But here is the practical workaround. Reapply. A small vial of catnip oil weighs almost nothing. Reapplying every 90 minutes to 2 hours keeps protection at over 95% effectiveness, as the research shows. You can also combine catnip oil with a carrier oil like coconut or olive oil to slow evaporation and extend coverage. And growing the plant means you have an unlimited supply. You are not rationing a $12 bottle. You are picking leaves from a bush in your yard and crushing them between your palms. Here is exactly what to do. Buy a packet of Nepeta Cataria seeds. They are available at virtually any garden center and online. A 2-gram packet costs between $2 and $4 and contains hundreds of seeds. Choose a spot with full sun or partial shade. Catnip tolerates poor soil, drought, and neglect. It is hardy in USDA zones 3 through 9, which covers nearly the entire continental United States. Press the seeds into the surface of the soil no deeper than 1/8 of an inch. They need light to germinate. Water lightly. Seeds sprout in 7 to 14 days. In 75 to 85 days, you have a mature plant. To use it as a repellent, harvest the leaves and stems. Crush fresh leaves and rub them directly on your skin. The bruised leaves release nepetalactone immediately. For a more concentrated application, steep a large handful of fresh catnip in a cup of boiling water for 15 minutes. Strain it, let it cool, pour it into a small spray bottle. That is a topical repellent that costs you literally nothing beyond the water and the time. For essential oil extraction, you can steam distill the leaves at home with a simple kitchen setup, or purchase pure catnip essential oil for about $8 to $12 per half-ounce bottle. Mix 10 to 15 drops into 2 ounces of witch hazel or a carrier oil. That bottle will last you weeks. A homesteader in eastern Tennessee planted a 3-by-6-foot patch of catnip along her back porch in the spring of 2023. By midsummer, she reported that the mosquito activity on and around her porch had dropped so dramatically that her family stopped using commercial sprays entirely. She harvested and dried enough leaves to fill 4 mason jars. That supply lasted her through the following summer as well. 2 seasons of protection. Total cost, including seeds and 1 bag of garden soil, under $5. Compare that to the commercial alternative. A single can of OF Deep Woods spray retails for $8 to $10 and lasts a family of 4 roughly 2 to 3 weeks during peak season. Thermacell rechargeable device runs $40 to $50 before refill pads. A full season of yard treatment from a professional service costs $300 to $500. The catnip patch costs $3 and produces for years. The Etruscans cultivated it in the 7th century BC. The Romans grew it in the city of Nepeta, and Pliny documented it in his encyclopedia. Medieval English healers prescribed it in Bald's Leech Book. Colonial Americans carried the seeds across the Atlantic and brewed it into their daily tea. The Cherokee used it in their ceremonies. Iowa State University measured it at 10 times the effectiveness of DEET. Northwestern University and Lund University identified the exact receptor it activates. The journal Current Biology published the findings. The mechanism is confirmed. The insect pain receptor, TRPA1, is the target, and it does not affect humans at all. The science is settled. The history is undeniable. The evidence is overwhelming. And yet, a $7.5 billion industry would rather sell you a $6 aerosol can every 2 weeks than tell you about a $3 packet of seeds that grows forever. This knowledge did not disappear. It was buried under billions of dollars of marketing, under decades of shelf space dominance, under a regulatory framework designed to favor the companies that can afford to navigate it. Your great-grandmother knew, Pliny the Elder knew, the Cherokee knew, and now so do you. If this vault opened something for you, subscribe and share it. Every share preserves what they tried to erase. The next vault opens soon. What is inside weighs even heavier.